Welcome to the Dana Grant Show, where heart-centered stories, authentic connections, real talk, and real action come together. I'm your host, Dana Grant. I'm a life coach, speaker, and believer in the boundless power within every one of us. Each week, we're diving into raw, transformative conversations that not only spark healing, but growth and unshakable clarity. Because you know what? Your story matters. Your voice deserves to be heard, and your purpose is waiting to be fully lived. You're in the right place. Let's begin. Welcome back to the Dana Grant Show, where I have someone extraordinarily special in the house today. He is someone, Don, and I'm going to say this right because we all know me and we all know that I mispronunciate names. This one's so easy. And he actually sounds like a famous person. And I think you're going by the time you're done with this interview, you're going to think he's famous too. Don Donneruno. And he is, I'm going to read, and you all know that I don't read bios, but I'm going to read you this one, because I think that he is extraordinary. And of course, that's why I invited Don to the show. I'm going to say really quick, Don, welcome, and then I'm going to read your bio. So welcome as you sit here, probably very uncomfortable as I read this. So for those of you that are on YouTube, you're going to see this. For the rest of you listening, you're going to want to lean in. So Don is a custom cake designer. Now, he didn't bake his first cake till he was 40. But he's also a conceptual engineer, a creative visionary known for transforming cakes into unforgettable works of art. Yep, you heard that, works of art. For those that know me, know that I have invested in huge cakes for my daughter's graduation that are like massive works of art. Even my daughter's tattoo, I made into a cake, which was me celebrating her, which I love. I love this whole full circle here. So he says, drawing inspiration from New York City's vibrant culture, the graffiti movement, and my favorite era, the 1980s, rock music, comic books, pop art, and iconic cultural figures has inspired him. So Don creates bold, story-driven designs that are expressive as they are imaginative. And we're going to show you some of those as well. Although he did make his cake, as I said, till he was 40, he built a career proving, not providing, proving that passion can be discovered at any age of life. Well, you know, I believe that to be true. Through his art and his new podcast, Don inspires everyone to live this creative, expansive, reinventive life, and just the courage to follow this unconventional path. And that is why he's here. I cannot wait to unpack, unfold, dive in. I'm going to say it again. Welcome, Don.
I appreciate you having me here, Dana. I want to meet whoever that guy was that you were explaining there. I want to meet that guy. That seemed like a very interesting human being you were describing there.
Who was I describing? Let's go back.
Yeah, yeah, me.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
who was that? Well,
I didn't even
see,
recognize it. It sounded so fabulous.
well, and that's why I don't normally read intros, especially if people here, because they get like, but you actually encompass, it not only encompasses, you embody this. And that's why I wanted to read it, because it was so extraordinary. And just the way you've unfolded your life and you keep embracing. And I'm all about the creativity, and I'm about the curiosity. And so I was curious, like, what rocks this man's world to keep unfolding and all of these digits connecting. I'm always connecting, but the creativity is really what I think that keeps us grounded in this life. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, hey, we're going to go all the way back, because I'm fascinated with the New York accent. Is it New York or is it New Jersey? I'm always
It's New York, born
Oh,
and raised in New York.
yay. I did it. I did it because, you know, I'm West Coast, and us West Coasters, we always get it wrong. Your story is so incredible. And, you know, I wrote that, you know, I think that when I leaned in, I'm like, who is this person? He baked his first cake at 40. Number one, let's go back to how you were raised, where you were raised, what that looked like. Did
Yeah,
your mom bake cakes?
I'll give you the Cliff Notes, the quick Cliff
Yes,
Notes version of
yes.
it. I'm born and raised
Let
in Queens, New York. Only child. My mom worked in Manhattan, so I was a latchkey kid. I would come
Oh,
home every day, let myself in. Only child, no brothers or sisters. And from the day I can go back as far as I can remember, I wanted to be an artist. I would come home and draw and sketch and copy comic books and watch TV, because really I was there alone. I would watch TV. I would come home, and and I would just draw every day. I'm a drummer still. I would play my drums, listen to music, and draw
Ooh.
every day for years and years. And in school, when they gave out the paper in the beginning of the school year, what do you want to be when you grow up? Every year I wrote artist. My whole life, I wrote artist every
Is the
year.
art that I'm looking at behind you, for those of you that are on YouTube and watching this, you're probably going to watch this.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
So
He's
this
got
stuff is
art
mine
behind him.
here.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
So
amazing.
this is Carl from the movie Up. I don't know if you know the movie Up, the old man from the movie Up.
Of course, I've watched it many times because it is
Yeah, so
so
that's
frigging
Carl,
expiring.
who
Yeah.
I am is my favorite. And then this is a graffiti piece, a large piece that's a photo of, and it's one of my pieces, and it says, "So many people have inspired me to be nothing like them." And
Oh,
yeah, it kind of resonates with everybody on a different level.
yeah.
I've done this piece, people have commissioned it over and over, and for everybody, it sort of tells a different story. But that's basically, I did art my entire life. It's all I ever wanted to be. And in school, it really was the only thing that would keep my attention. Nothing ever connected with me in school. I couldn't get the message they were selling, I was not buying. That traditional schooling and whatever you want to say, I had attention deficit, whatever. But it's
Yeah.
just
You
what
knew.
I
You knew
wasn't
what you knew.
interested.
Yeah. You just,
I
yeah.
wasn't interested. But when I was interested, you couldn't get me disinterested. I was all in. So my entire life I wanted to be an artist. I was a graffiti kid in the city. In the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. Um, so in the 80s, if you're not from that time period, the inception of rap music in New York was like a really special period. It was
Yeah.
um it breakdancing, rap music, graffiti, DJing, the fashion, the culture. It was brand new, and I was all in. I bought all in on it. I couldn't get enough of it. And it shaped my artistic style back then, and it's still my style now. It still influences everything I do. That those lessons I learned riding the subway from Queens to Manhattan all the time, the food we had, the music we listened to, the fashion, all of it shaped my
Yeah.
artistic.
Do you remember Contempo? There was a store called Contempo. It was expensive. I mean, I was in the 80s. I think I graduated high school in 82. But and I actually have a reunion coming up in 2 weeks. My first one ever that I've attended.
Yeah,
They're awarding me something, and I'm like, I would still show up anyway. I just want to be there. I felt for the first time I wanted to be, but Contempo was a store.
I don't remember it.
I bought a turquoise jumpsuit. I couldn't afford it. It was the only beautiful piece it had a big black patent leather, and then those black what were those things called? Not socks, but leg warmers.
Leg warmers,
Yeah,
yeah.
and black high heels, spike high heels, and big earrings, and as big as my hair could go with Aquanet. And I mean, I just felt like a rock star. I felt like everything had shifted in the 80s, that we were just showing up and being bigger,
That was
musically. Yeah.
where were you growing up? Where were you living at that point?
I was back in the city. I was back in Oakland.
In Oakland.
Yeah, I was born in Oakland, left as a baby, and grew up all over Northern California. Parents divorced, just bounced back and forth every couple of years. This is
Yeah.
my story. But I went back to go to school. Um, that didn't work out so well. I was more of a creative, very difficult for me to like lock into. I wanted to be a lawyer, but I couldn't comprehend. I needed to keep it simple, but I ended up being a lobbyist, keeping it simple and setting records at rewriting everything and making it work for me, which ended up working for everyone else. But being there, yeah, it was Contempo, the bar scene that I always tried to get into because I was still way too young, but I looked so much older. I always got in, but it was fascinating. Um,
Yeah. But people wonder, like, so we would take, I tell stories now, and my kids think I'm lying. Like, we used to take the subway into Manhattan. We were 12, 13 years old. We were no parents. We would just go into the city. And at that point,
yeah,
Manhattan was not Disneyland. It was like a
Yeah.
Scorsese movie. It was
Yeah.
it was dangerous. Like we would go in, we were young kids.
Yeah.
We would go in down to the village and we would go to the record stores and all the, you know, the t-shirt shops, and we would bring stuff back to Queens. Um, but all of it is, I think of it all so romantically still in my mind. I'm so glad I got to grow up where I did, when I did. No
Yeah.
cell phone, no internet. Um,
Oh, I know. See, the thing of it is, we can't even go back and capture. I can't go
I'm
back and
glad. I'm
yeah,
glad you can't. I'm glad you
yeah.
can't go back and capture a lot of
Yeah.
it. I'm glad
Well,
there's no. I'm glad there was no Instagram back then or video, because God knows what we would have been putting on Instagram
oh my
a-
gosh.
after leaving the club or leaving the bar. I
Yeah,
can't
I was
even.
gonna say God only knows what we would do. Back then, I mean, it just is true. I've never done an illegal drug or drank alcohol. Of course, prescription drugs almost killed me, but that's another story. But there were piles everywhere. I mean, we couldn't have put that out there. I mean,
No.
it was just everywhere you went. There was so much available, so much music, so much. But what was so interesting is my memories are so fond of the I just thought people were so connected and everything just felt like flow, even in Oakland. And I mean, in Oakland was probably, in the early 80s, was still coming out of the 70s and there were still riots. There was a lot going on still, but my grandparents still lived there. And I mean, that was my culture. It's what I knew to be true. And
Yeah,
yeah,
super
super
diverse
diverse.
Oakland, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a random question because it's my brain just goes all these different directions.
sure.
How do you feel about the Oakland A's leaving Oakland?
I
How
have
does the
such,
Oakland feel? Like, I mean, I'm a Met, like I've been a Met fan
yeah,
since I'm a baby. I have a Met hat on.
yeah.
If my team ever left my city, I don't know if I could deal with it.
That was a big deal. That was a big deal when the Oakland Raiders, I abandoned Oakland,
Yeah, and now the
because
A's.
yeah,
Now the Oakland A's.
yeah.
Is it that the city can't support the team? There was just no support for the teams there.
I don't. I think that Oakland got a bad rap, and I think that because of the crime rate, because of the diversity. And I mean, I remember my grandmother, her house being on 68th Avenue and going down and looking at all the little houses. But my grandfather was a factory worker and they owned that house. I was so proud, the everything about it. I guess I could look back and think we'd go to the liquor store and I get a red lip, she'd get milk and I get a one of those long licorice ropes. And I was just so thrilled to be there. But I guess it was dangerous. And there was a lot of shootings. I mean, my dad owned a delivery company and he'd been held up and tied up and robbed 7 times before he decided to,
Right.
shift us to Pleasanton, which was a very, very um, different world, a different world. But I think it just got a bad rap, and I think that it went through some growing pains. But I remember even going back, trying to go to school, and a lot of crime, and
Yeah.
even against me. And I thought, I'm frightened, and I don't want to be frightened of a place that feels like home. Um, but then again, San Francisco right now. I go to San Francisco. My daughter lives there. She lives in a beautiful neighborhood, but
Yeah. It
there are homeless everywhere, and
doesn't
it's like,
sound like the greatest place right now, San
no,
Francisco.
it's not. So we go through these eras like 80s, and now we're going through this, and we will make it through. That city will still stand. It will not fall off into the ocean. Everyone's like, it's
No, but
gonna fall.
you wonder for San Francisco and other cities in
LA,
California. Yeah, so other cities in California. What's the
even Chico.
fix?
Well,
What's
look
the
at Chico.
fix?
Well, the
How do you fix the most
yeah.
expensive real estate on the planet and then people camped out on the street in front of these houses? Like,
And nothing is being done about it. Now, I'm in a small community, Chico, California, and our percentage of homeless it's out of proportion. Our bike paths are lined up. People are waking up. It's on the news with feces in their front yard. It's unbelievable. And you're right. Our real estate here is just as expensive because we had the campfire.
hmm
So, it doubled and to own a home in California and then have to have fire insurance, which most of us can't get.
yeah,
You
you're not
know,
getting it at this point,
yeah.
right?
So here our whole life is trying to own property and we're dealing with, yeah, Homeless people.
What is the incentive at this point? I know California is a magical place and it's the most beautiful you could ever experience. The weather, everything.
Yeah.
What's the draw to stay there now? Like what keeps people there?
Well, it's a good question because I'm questioning that myself right now, and we originally discussed it. I have a daughter in Florida and I just spent a month there. I love the weather in Cal. I'm a native. I'm generations here. I love it. But even where I'm going back to have my reunion isn't the house we rented. I don't know if we can stay there because the lake is has so much algae and the smell is so bad. They may pull the plug on renting the house, and I'm like, well, that's just one factor. Not to mention the amount of meth that has happened
Yeah.
to this. It's dangerous, and this is a place that I grew up. I was thinking of Fourth of July fireworks on the beach and having my grandparents build that cabin and being I fond memories, beautiful memories of, Jolly Ranchers, putting my hand up on the counter and getting a Jolly Rancher because my dad was a delivery man, candy and cigarettes. All the things that made beautiful memories for me are no longer. And California is not what it used to be, but the humidity in Florida almost killed me. I'm freezing inside the house. I walk out.
If you're not used to it, it's alarming.
I tried to acclimate. I wore Birkenstocks one day for a walk. I got blisters on my feet so bad. I literally had to like come home and have surgery. They were so bad. But, I do love the weather here, but you are right. It is challenging. And I don't know the answer. I think that we have legislation in place that isn't allowing, we're spending a phenomenal amount of money on cleanup, but no restitution. There isn't anything being done, and it's not being done fast enough. And do I think it can be
Yeah.
done faster? Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
you have to wonder the people that are benefiting by the homeless being there, the opposition they're putting up to getting rid of the homeless because there are plenty of people that are benefiting from these homeless people, the amount of money that's getting put towards it.
Well, look at the
And
campfire. Look at the billions. Well, there could have been a billion, millions. I love to expand, but there were millions and millions of dollars that went into the campfire to rebuild. Who got that money?
yeah, where did
I
it
don't
go?
know anyone that got that money. So you're right.
Yeah,
A ton of
if we all ran our businesses the way they run California or some of these states, we'd be out of business.
absolutely, and it's
Yeah, or in
impossible
jail,
for me to ignore that.
or we'd be locked up for
Or we'd be
tax
locked up.
evasion,
Yeah,
yeah, or
yeah.
something.
Which
But yeah,
prisons here are even privately funded. Bridges, I just went over to the Oakland privately funded. Everything is privately funded, and I can't help but think, being in politics for so long, I know the gridlock, I know the movement, but this isn't about political parties. This is about
no,
what are we going to do
yeah,
about
these are
this?
nonpartisan
Yeah.
issues that just need to get fixed. Nobody wants that to be how it is.
No,
Nobody wants that to
no,
be how it is. I
no.
try and think of, I use the example all the time. I don't mean to get way off track like that, but I think of the example all the time about the fire department, right?
Yeah.
The fire department, to me, is the only organization, I can't even think of another one, the only organization that exists where you pick up your phone and you call them. They don't care what your W-2 says, what color you are, who you voted for, how many people are in your house, are you legal, illegal, what criminal, do you have a rep? They come, they
They're going to
save
show
your
up.
they save your
Your
family,
family.
and they do whatever they can for you. It's it's alarming to say there is not another organization like that.
No.
Decisions are made on every other level based on what you make, how
Yeah.
you voted, who you're affiliated
Yeah.
with, do you have a criminal record? Like
Yeah.
there the fire department sets a standard of how every organization that is a public help that is helping the public should be run like the fire department. We don't give a fuck what your color, what you
Yep.
make, what your religion, who you voted for. We're going to help you just
Yeah.
get to where we need to get you
But
to.
Dawn, we grew up in a stage and in an age where don't you remember that that's the way it used to be?
It
I
was.
just don't.
I didn't know anybody's background or
No,
what they did or
no.
Yeah.
No, and if they had a political difference or a party, I remember Carter and people calling him a peanut something, and I'm like, what? I mean, but that was the worst it got. That was
Listen,
the worst.
there were uncles around the table who were
Yeah,
opinionated and they would speak, but what people didn't realize was that guy fought in a war.
yeah,
That uncle who had an opinion, he
yeah.
was in Korea, Vietnam, World War.
World War
These
II. Yeah,
guys, these guys
Vietnam.
went
Yeah.
and did stuff, and they came back, and you know what? They earned the right to speak on things that they knew about. Today, people are speaking about issues they have no idea. They think because
Well, they're
they
getting it
could
off TikTok. They're getting it
they
off
think, yeah,
TikTok. Yeah, and yeah,
they put a certain flag behind them on their profile picture for some country they've never been to. Now they're an expert on this country,
yeah,
and it's sad, but
yeah.
it is a social media driven tool that
Oh,
is dividing
absolutely.
us. But as bad as the social media rap is, I have built a whole career on it, and
I
I
was
could,
just gonna say,
yeah,
how did that influence you? And
yeah,
and actually, how did all this influence you?
yeah.
Because
So
you know
I
you're an artist, you're a creative. All of this is flooding in, and you're seeing. I mean, I can guarantee you, if you went to San Francisco, I mean, there's beautiful streets of art and prints, and I mean, I've got videos, and I love those communities. But there's also beauty. Sometimes when I take pictures of streets of homeless, there's beauty in the survival of that, and there's such a deep sadness, but it's still
yeah.
part of our.
I lean towards that. Like, um, I like to say everybody is, you know, the paint card when you go to the paint store and there's all the swatches on the
Oh yeah,
wall, you know, so it goes like,
I'm
it's
totally
like,
overwhelmed by that,
it
by the
goes
way.
by the rainbow, right?
Yeah.
I like to say everybody is one of those cards.
Ah,
Whatever color you gravitate to. I am from when I'm a little kid to now still, I'm in the gray, navy bluish, very
mm,
dark. It's where I'm comfortable. I gravitate towards that. The bright blue, yellow, orange is very uncomfortable for me. For whatever reason, I have, you know, some childhood trauma that I've learned as an adult. Um,
yeah, you need.
yeah, I worked through it and I realized
Mm,
why the stuff that resonates with me is the sad music, sad emotional movies, poems, artwork. The artwork that when you look at it, like if you're in a gallery or walking through a museum, the artwork I would always stop at was when I looked at it and I said, what was this person going, like
yeah,
what were they going through?
yeah.
What elicit, how did they get this image
See,
on this canvas?
I don't think we went off track at all. I think it's where we went was what feeds you, what interests you, what where you lean in, and you're like, how did they get here? What story is this? And you create art out of that.
Yeah, so
And
when I was at that point in my life where you have to make a decision what you're going to do with yourself, and not for anybody's fault, they just didn't know any working artists. People in my life would say, "You can't be an art like do you know
can't
any
make any money
artists?
being an artist or a
Yeah,
drummer or a
do you know
drummer.
any that make a living?" And I would say, "No, I don't know any working artists." I said, "I
Mm.
don't know any astronauts either, but I know they go to the fucking moon." So
I
like
love that you said
yeah,
that because
you,
yeah, but you may not know any, but I'm going to be the first. You
so, but
know,
I didn't. I believed it, and I just went and I got a job out of school, and it ended up being a great career. I stayed with a company for 18 years.
and
Um,
what was that job?
I worked for Stuart Weitzman Shoes, high-end women's shoe company, non-creative, like a non, but a great job.
I don't know. Women take their shoes very seriously. I
Yeah, but
size
I was
11, 12
not.
feet. I
I
take
was not.
shoes very seriously.
Yeah, but I was involved with bringing the shoes in from Spain, customs, housing them here. Listen, it was a great job. It allowed me to buy a big, beautiful house for my family. You know, 5 weeks vacation, 401k, the
I just want to
whole.
know, could you still have access to those Italian shipped in shoes? Because
No, no more
darn.
shoes. Yeah. Um,
No more
but
shoes.
it was a great job.
Yeah.
Was I satisfied? Was I happy? Looking back now, probably not. But you just go, I guess this is, you know, I've moved to Long Island. what, the dream, what you're supposed to do. I bought a big, beautiful house, 2 kids. I'm raising family on Long Island, 5 weeks vacation. We're traveling. We're doing all this stuff. And I was on the hamster wheel and I just kept running and running. And this is what it was going to be. And a phone call from a close friend. She was the person who made cakes all the time. She was the cake person. If you needed a cute little cake, nothing crazy, but she would make cakes for your kids. And she called me up and said, I have to make a cake for somebody. It's King Tut and it's too ambitious and I can't do it. I know I can't do it. You have to help me. And I said, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like I had
Yeah,
never.
yeah, it's like this is a different language. I don't even what? I don't make cakes.
Yeah, so she said you'll be good at it. You paint and you sculpt and you'll be good at it. Trust me. So
Mm,
I said, "Okay." She brought the stuff to my house the next day. We made the cake. I decorated this King Tut cake and it came so natural. It was actually crazy how easy it was for me. I was blown away by how good the cake was. I took a picture of it and I didn't do anything with the picture. I just kept it in my phone. And 3 days later, for whatever reason, divine intervention, whatever you want to say, I posted it on Facebook, the picture, and I just wrote, check out this cake I made. With no, just wanted people to see.
expectation. Just
Yeah,
say
I would do
I'm
that.
gonna
I would
yeah.
do that with my artwork. I would
Yeah.
paint a painting and I would say, check out this painting. And at that point, nobody's buying my artwork. Like there's no, I'm just showing the world because I created it.
Mhm.
And 90 seconds after I posted the picture, my friend Chris Falco, who I grew up with in the city, wrote, forget the cake boss, you're the cake Don. And I laughed, ha 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 ha. And
Ooh,
it
something
didn't,
powerful this
yeah,
like
it
boom
didn't, the,
shift.
the lights didn't all go on, but I just laughed, ha ha ha.
Mm,
And people started contacting me on Facebook to buy cakes
right.
from that one cake picture. And
Did you say yes right
I
away?
said, I don't make cakes, but they were like, I saw this King Tut cake. So I contacted my friend
We all
Meredith
know you
and
can
I
do
said,
it.
listen, people are asking for cakes. Do you want to make some cakes on the weekend? Like, I would definitely do it. She's like, yeah, cool, let's do it. We started making cakes out of my house on the weekend, and I would just kept posting them on Facebook. And, one cake went to 2 cakes, some weeks, no cakes.
Yeah.
And then after a year, I kept building the brand, the Cake Don, which was kind of cool. It was unique.
Yeah.
I'm this tattooed dad from the neighborhood who's making cakes. It didn't really make any sense to anybody.
Yeah.
Um, Now I have 9 cakes a week, 11 cakes a week. My refrigerator in my house is full. I decided I have to really give this the respect that it deserves. I got to go all in on this thing, and I decided I'm gonna give this all my energy. And I went and got an entry level bakery job because I had no experience I could never open a bakery. I didn't know anything about it. Luckily,
Love this.
my wife has a great job because this whole thing doesn't work. If your spouse doesn't have an income and is not supportive of your
I
decision,
was
this
gonna say,
thing,
or doesn't support and says,
yeah,
hey,
this doesn't work.
go
This whole
dream,
thing doesn't
go
work.
follow your dream. Yeah, there's gonna be some problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Love that you added that.
Yeah, because everybody thinks, oh, let me quit my job and go get this other job. Don't quit your fucking job. Like, just keep your job, because the one thing I regret, I don't regret anything. It will all work the way it was supposed to work, but I
Yeah.
came up with no plan. I had no plan.
Yeah.
Which is basically how my whole life, I run my whole life that way. That's why now, I've
I
put,
don't think of it as no planned on. Maybe we can reframe this. I look at it as you are married to the energy and the process of creativity, and you divorce the attachment to any outcome that you want from it, which
yeah, but
which leads to enormous abundance. But there are
I
blueprints that can make it a little more profitable and build out.
I've come to the point where I recognize that as a superpower for me now. It's
Yeah,
not a downfall. I can tell my gut,
yeah.
I trust my gut on every level now. It's led me to every great thing. Every great thing that's happened in my life from
Mm,
that point to now has been a gut decision. I didn't overthink it. I just went with
just
what
did it.
felt.
Just
Yeah,
did
I
it.
went with
Just
what
did it.
felt good. So I go and get this bakery job. And, you know, you put your family in a real financial position when you go from one salary, two great salaries to one salary. And I have two young daughters, and I'm getting a paycheck, but obviously it's nothing compared to what I was making.
Yeah.
And there are key days here that I remember. I remember I had to take my BMW 745 IL, big, beautiful BMW. I had to take it to the BMW dealer, and I said to him, I need the cheapest used Mini Cooper you have in exchange. Like I need cash. Like I can't. And I
Was
got
that
this.
hard? Was that hard for you to do?
Oh, at that point, my
Yeah.
my confidence was at such a low because I was not succeeding at the rate. I thought this thing was going to
Mm.
go
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And
We're gonna sell, build, and
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and it was not. So I went and got this Mini Cooper, and I have to tell you to this day, my most favorite car I've ever owned. It was not a fancy car. It was not expensive. It was the cheapest car. I had conversations with that car. I would drive home from the bakery, and I would be crying in the car, questioning every decision I'm making. And so now I'm 3 years into this journey. Okay, I'm still working for this bakery. I'm learning,
Still
building the
driving the
cake.
Cooper.
Yeah,
Did you name the car?
no, it would have been a bad name
Yeah,
if it
we're
would have
just
been,
gonna call it the
yeah,
Coop. We're
it
we're
would have been,
talking in the
yeah.
Coop. We're
And I'm
baking.
driving, and just get a little snapshot of how it's going. I'm missing mortgage payments. We're missing car payments. Um,
Yeah.
I get a phone call. I'm on route, for people that know Long Island, I'm on Route 135 that runs from the north side of Long Island to the south side. I'm heading back home to the North Shore, and I get a phone call from TLC Network asking me if I want to be on season 4 with Buddy Valastro, who at the time he's the cake boss. He was the biggest name.
Yeah, oh yeah. Did you pitch or did you have someone
No,
or it was
no,
just
they followed. They liked my social media, and I had a different vibe. I was the cake don from Long Island,
so you
not your
just
tip.
showed up consistently. You just kept showing up, showing up, showing up, showing
Mhm.
up, showing up, showing up. No matter what happened, no
No, I
matter
just
what's
kept.
going on, you
Listen,
just kept
it that comes from I was a musician my entire life who tried to get a record deal, and relentless. You have to be relentless. You have to be in everybody's face. And I promoted my cake business like that. It was relentless every day, all day. And they asked me if I wanted to be on season 4 with Buddy. And I couldn't, I was so not prepared. Like I was so new. 3 years in, I said yes, of course.
yeah,
I did. This is not a one episode like Chopped.
yeah.
I did 10 1-hour episode. It was the whole season with Buddy on TLC at the time. So this was insane.
Well, I
And
see.
at the
I didn't know that. I don't know how I missed. It might be in my notes, but that's not what captivated me. What captivated me was your unbelievable drive and commitment to a dream that you weren't willing to give up on. And I
Yeah,
think,
and the crazy part was there
yeah,
was a dream. I didn't even know what it was. It was just a feeling. I didn't know what it looked like at the other side. I didn't know what the dream was. I just knew you
yeah,
finally figured out how to. I figured out. So my equity still to this day is I create this, right, with my hands. I make this.
yeah,
I give it to you, Dana. You give me your money.
yeah,
Your equity is your cash. My equity is my artistic ability. It took
yeah,
me to my mid 40s to figure out, okay, I can use my equity, my talent, give it to you, and you could give me money. I knew that was a pathway for me now to a life where if I can create every day, these voices and noises in my head, they go away.
yeah.
If
Did
I
you
can,
negotiate with your value and it's like did you negotiate with your cakes like, well, I'll take less, or were you just
oh,
you just knew?
I was giving them away. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
thought so.
was
I
I
thought,
was
yeah,
giving stuff away.
yeah,
I would say to you, okay, Dana, so this cake is going to be $250. And you would say, oh, that's way more than I want to spend. Then I would say, okay, how much do you want to spend? You would say, like 125. I'd say, okay, let's do it. But basically at that point, I just needed content for social media. I
yeah,
needed to put the picture of your cake on social media every day, and I needed to look like I was busy. So I discounted what I was worth, but it was for a purpose.
yeah,
I tell some people they're first starting out and they overvalue their worth. They think their shit is priceless. And if nobody's buying your product is worthless. You have to not overvalue what you're doing. You could know what it's worth, but you have to take a path. People need to be exposed to it. And at any point, you could change the price of your product. Just because you undersell yourself in the beginning doesn't mean
Right.
that's where the price point stays. I can sell my cakes in the beginning for less than they're worth, but once the public gets wind of them, now I can start to raise the price slowly and people come around. But I get that phone call, I go do a season with Buddy, and we do the finale in the Venetian in Las Vegas. We're filming the finale for the show.
Oh yeah.
And the producer says to me, "You have 16 weeks before this airs. We have to edit, and it's going to be 16 weeks, 4 months of editing. If you go back to work at a bakery, you're crazy. You need to open up your own spot." And at that point, I didn't
So you
have
had an
10.
opportunity that
Yeah, but I
you
didn't
had
have
to
10 cents in the,
launch.
I had no money. I had run
Yeah.
through college money,
Yeah.
401k. Like I was just trying, I was 3 years in. I had
Yeah.
ran through everything. My kids' college money was gone. I was at such a low point feeling about
I know.
myself.
Yeah.
Um, but
But
we,
and you're on TLC. You've got all this going on. I've heard this from Jamie Lee Curma, who launched not Bare Minerals. That was someone a huge makeup line. No money. They ordered it from on that shopping network,
yeah,
and then
you
they
figure it
decided.
out.
Then they said it. They decided no, and she's stuck with all this, and she's broken. Well, I mean, long story short, now she's wrote the book Worthy, #1 bestseller for I don't know how many weeks, but lives next to Oprah Winfrey. I mean,
Yeah,
and people
amazing.
think, well, she wouldn't be there if she wasn't next to Oprah Winfrey. And I'm like, she's next to Oprah Winfrey because she's like you.
She didn't quit.
She never quit.
Everybody quits.
She just
Everybody else
kept
quits.
figuring pin. So I'm going to show you. This is crazy. My daughter's probably going to kill me. This cake is huge. It
Love
is.
it.
It's her tattoo. She has a stake on her arm around a pomegranate. That's a pomegranate on top. I
I dig
hired an
it.
artist. It's a phenomenal cake. This was for her college graduation. I can't even believe I found this, but I'm showing it to you because the first thing I said that came out of my mouth. Can you just?
Beautiful.
Well, no. When we were negotiating, I said, "Ooh, that's a lot of money." What you just said, "Ooh, that's
Yeah.
a lot of money." But I'm like, this is her college graduation. I want to honor because I wanted to cut her trust fund off when she did her whole arm with a whole arm with a snake, and I'm like, how could you do that? And I just said I wanted you to wait till you were out of college, and then I just wanted to honor. I can't even believe that I came up with this, and and that's her. She's gonna say, "Mom, did you just show that on?" Yes,
Yeah,
I
I
did.
love it.
But I ended up paying $675 for that cake, and people are like,
Yeah.
"You're out of your mind." And then, of course, I couldn't take it home. I'm traveling to her university. I said, "Share it with your party, your friends, after parties, the restaurant, everyone have." And the cake was incredible.
And the beautiful part of social media, Dana, is that cake lives forever now because
Yeah.
there's a picture of it. We used to have a cake like that and it was gone. We never saw it again. Now you can go back, find the cake, show people. Um, but what I realize now for me too is, and the same with that cake artist, whoever the artist that did that for you, if the
Yeah.
person says no, they don't want to pay, that's not the customer for you.
No.
They're not your customer.
No. And
There are
yeah.
people that should buy a Fudgy the Whale from Carvel. They should
And
buy.
I'm so glad she didn't say, you know what? And that's also organic and vegan. I mean, the amount of money she probably made no money on
Mhm.
$675. The energy, the time, how what that took
Yeah,
to
yeah.
that cake was literally 4 feet tall and she had to deliver it. It was a little bit, and it's hot. It's summertime. It's wanting to melt. It's at a five-star restaurant. She's delivering it. I mean, she was a champion. I still think about her.
Hmm.
You know what? You promoted. I'm gonna give her another shout out. But the fact of the matter was, I'm so glad she didn't say no because you know what? I would have, I would have felt bad not honoring her because that cake was phenomenal. Even if,
I will tell you
yeah,
though, I will tell you, I am grateful for the people. I didn't. I listen. I may have done cakes for them cheaper than I should have, but there was no reason for them to even order cakes from me back then. I had never.
Uh,
I wasn't even. I
yeah.
had just been. I was like a fetus, just
Yeah.
like
Well,
and
so was
putting my.
she. She was like, I don't do very many cakes. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I just trusted her. I'm like,
that's it.
you
I'm
could,
grateful to
you
all of
could do.
them.
Yeah. I mean, I gave her a picture of a tattoo and
Hmm.
said, can you create an honor and say, congratulate. I mean, I mean, this cake was phenomenal. I
Yeah, and
mean,
I never said no to any. There were designs people would ask me to make. I never said no. I didn't know.
oh, you
You
never
would you
said
would say,
no.
listen, I need a cake with a tattoo and a pomegranate, and I would be on the phone. And I go, oh
And a
yeah, yeah, Dana,
snake
I could do
that
that for
riles.
sure, for sure, for sure. Then I would hang up the phone and go, I don't know how the fuck. How am I gonna make? I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then we would just figure it out. But
I,
not long after I did that show in Vegas, I opened up my first shop,
oh yeah,
and
I want to hear about that. So you did that, you listened to them, you figured out a way. People are
we
gonna say,
opened up a
well,
shop.
and
However,
now
I
we're gonna
did
hear
it.
people come in and say, well, he figured out a way because he was on TLC. Nope, you're
No.
broke, you've got no money, you're
No,
struggling, you're
this
behind 3 years.
TLC wasn't even on yet. It was
Yeah.
before I had to get this thing. So,
Did you get a
but he,
loan? Let's talk about did you get a loan
um,
or did you just figure it out?
there were important people in my life that knew
I love that.
I would not take money and go away. Like they're just things
Yeah.
how I conducted myself all those years before that point with
Yeah.
people knew they knew he's a trustworthy human and we got this thing open. And here's the thing, the whole TLC thing, right? There was no windfall of customers after this show
No.
aired.
Crazy
It,
how people think that is going to be.
yeah,
I launched the first cauliflower pizza crust company, and you think there's this windfall. I'm the creative force, and then it doesn't go, and then I turn it over to my business partner, and it goes, and it's the leading. I mean, it's $1 billion industry,
yeah,
and I want some credit for that, but I'm just the creative force in the beginning, and I'm like, but do you have any idea what that took?
yeah. I know.
Yeah,
I know what it
yeah,
took. Yeah,
yeah.
so I sat there. I for 18 months I was my only employee. I couldn't afford, it was me. It was just me. Phone, email, fill the cake, ice the cake, decorate the cake, design cakes, do consults, delivery. And I sat for 18 months and I would just wait for customers to come in.
Cool. What
And I
kept
would,
you going? What kept you going, Don?
I couldn't go back. I could have went back. I could have got a job in an office or I
But
couldn't.
you couldn't go back.
Here's the thing with me, Dana.
What
I'm
did you
not,
hear? What did you hear?
I'm not
I
for sale. I'm not for sale. I am not.
yeah.
I tell certain people this in my life and they're going to watch it. I would never say their names, but I tell them because of the way this social media thing runs and people get this dopamine hit when they get a lot of views. I say, do not stand with fools to get views because people forget who's who. So if you stand in a room full of fucking fools doing foolish shit, people don't know that you're not like them. They're going to assume you're the same as these morons. I would rather sit at a table by myself, put a camera on, and just talk because this message that resonates with 500,000, you get 1 million views. That's fantastic. I've had videos. I've posted cakes. I posted a cake. We did a cake. The CEO at the Coldplay concert. Do you remember the whole thing at the Coldplay concert with
Oh
the
yeah.
CEO?
Oh
We did
yeah.
a cake. The next day, I did a cake with the CEO of Coldplay on
With
it.
Coldplay. I see. Yeah, I was going to say earlier, you don't have any idea what a genius you are, and I still don't think you will ever really take ownership of what a genius you are because you're so busy in the ether, in the creative, in the what is it I need to do?
That's very kind of you. But I posted it the next
What's
day.
the truth?
It got 24 million views on Instagram. The cake. 24 million views, which, is fabulous. But here's the thing, Dana. 24 million views on Instagram. What was the customer acquisition for me? It was
Mm,
zero. Nobody saw it and said, I have to find it was, oh, how fun. Like it was a funny thing that got your attention. There was no customer acquisition. So all these people get high and intoxicated on these all these views. If I post a cake today, right? I'll post a cake. Say it's a New York City police retirement cake, right?
Right.
I post a retirement cake. If it gets a couple of thousand views, most people would be discouraged. They'd say, damn, if one person calls me and orders that cake, my customer acquisition was zero. I posted it for free. One person saw it. That's the only person I'm concerned with. They called my shop and paid and ordered the cake.
Like I said, you stay married to this process, you divorce the outcome of what you want out of it, and you're not attached. Your ego is not attached to the accolations of, oh my gosh, everyone, you're like, I'm good. I'm good. You stay in this. How do you stay in that? That is a superpower. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
most people give up. This is a superpower. I mean, a stick to itiveness that
I
most
have a
people do not
hyper
have.
I have a hyper focus right now, and now it's become even more intense because my both daughters now are in place here, and the trajectory of the business with them now has changed. They've brought this.
Yeah.
My daughter Mia has gotten me so organized, and
Oh
she
yeah, I talked to
supplies.
her yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's like no nonsense. I thought,
she sup-
I'm West Coast and I'm talking to East Coast now. They're like no nonsense, no business, and I'm like, "Oh,
yeah,
it's a different vibe." But yeah, yeah.
she supplies things I was not equipped with.
Ooh.
And now when we add her special sauce, and now my younger one is here, who recently graduated from Boston Conservatory at Berkeley. Um,
This is brilliant. This
they
is
have
brilliant.
brought an
That now
energy
it's a
here.
family business. That
Yes,
now you've
and
created yeah, now you've created a legacy.
that now could go for the next 30 years with that
Yeah,
with
a
these two in
legacy.
place. Yeah, we
Yeah.
could take this thing to levels. Now my focus becomes not just for me as an art. Now this is I could provide we together we could these two could have a really nice existence going forward. But at a
Yeah.
point in my life, listen,
I mean,
I'll be
and is anyone ever going to stop eating cake? Really, honestly, is anyone going to stop
you
ever
could have as much
celebrating and
as
eating
much
cake?
GLP-1s as you want to take, and as much people are always
Still
going to
going to
have a
eat
cake.
cake.
Yeah.
Still
And
going to eat cake.
even
Yeah.
the people that buy it and don't eat it, they just want it for their Instagram video.
Well, and I showed you that. Like, I mean, I wish I would have had better pictures. I mean, we were just so busy celebrating at the restaurant, and then the cake came in, and I mean, it's just ginormous. And
Yeah.
I just wanted my daughter to feel honored that I did her tattoo and here I'm celebrating you. I
Yeah.
wish I would have done more on that because it was so incredible and the work it was a work of art. But what was my point? There was a point there. It just went,
My biological father left when I was 5 years old. Unlike most parents who split, he left when I was five and he never came back, not one day. I never saw him again, not
wow,
one day,
I'm sorry
which
for
is
that.
not normal. No, listen, my whole life, I was affected by it. I was
Yeah.
angry. How do you
Or
leave?
confused.
How do
That's
you leave a 5 year? And then when I had kids, I was even more angry. I'd say, how did you leave? But as I got older, I have become so thankful and grateful to that guy. He took his bullshit. He was an addict. He took his bullshit one time and left. He
yeah.
didn't give me a lifetime of disappointment. He didn't miss a birthday, show up for Christmas, show up drunk, show up high. He left one time and allowed me and my mom to figure it out on our own. That was the greatest gift that guy could have ever given me. I've seen friends, their parents destroy their life. As adults, the disappointment never ends. The conflict never ends. The trauma never ends. This guy left. Did it leave a hole? Yeah, it did. It really. I was always wondering, how did this guy leave? But me and my mom figured it out, and I am grateful to him that he allowed us to exist on our own. I use this analogy. I was
Mm.
carrying these bags my whole life. I was carrying these bags, right? All this baggage. I was carrying it around, right? So for an artist, the worst thing you could do is keep your hands clenched, like I was carrying it, this weight, right?
Mm.
I took the bags and I put it in a backpack, right? And I
Right.
put it on my back, and it freed up my hands. Did I put the weight down? No. I carried it on my back I was strong enough to carry it, but I let it go, and it allowed me now to create. It freed up my hands to create, and it allowed me to form a relationship where this backpack became part of my story, part of my journey, and now I can really create. I am grateful to him. He
And made
his
you a phenomenal father. You
it
both your daughters prior to hopping on, we talked about both of your daughters are part of your business. You see them every day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they saved my life. Those two saved my life. They are the reason I do everything I do. And um I had no siblings. So do you have siblings?
five, but no relationship with any of them.
Really? But when you were younger, you
Well,
could.
trust fund, trust. I mean, long story, but for me, being the connector and being, I don't know, I'm the only zodiac sign that's an object, a Libra. I want to find balance. I had so much love, and it's heartbreaking. I remember the last thing I said is, "You're going to choose money over me." Whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, I would own anything I did. But I have healed. It's been 15, 20 years, but I'm going to tell you, it was not easy. It was
Yeah, I
one of the
can't
hardest.
imagine.
It was one of the hardest things I've ever gone through.
Do you know
But
that feeling you used to get when you walked in a room and all your siblings were there,
yeah.
and the face, you guys all have a similar face.
Well,
You
we all actually look identical because our parents looked identical, and they
right, so there
divorced
you go.
when I was six. They divorced. So, but my dad was an alcoholic, but he did his very best to stay connected. He drowned when I was 56. He's still part of my world, being the spiritual side. I mean, he's still very present. My mom's still alive. We both have moms 83 still, but all of that plays part of who I am.
Yeah, I never walked in a room and saw a bunch of faces
Yeah,
that
that
looked like
looked just
mine.
like
It was
yours.
me.
Yeah.
It was just me. Um, and it messed with me. I would see all my friends had all like siblings, and it just, it was just me. But
However, you never had to feel the essence of rejection, opinion. I
that's
mean,
what
I
I
remember,
learned. That's what I
yeah,
learned later on from talking to people who had
yeah.
relationships with family that went
Or
horribly wrong.
gossip or saying horrible things about you, and you're like, but that's not true. You never,
Yeah.
but those lessons I needed to learn. Yours were completely different. You had
Yeah.
to show up and take full ownership of who you were. That I think that's a lot, Dawn, to step into a power and your stick to itiveness, never to be challenged by sibling. But you didn't hear anything negative either, which you didn't.
Yeah, but I heard, listen, no sibling could ever say anything worse than I said to myself for years about myself. The
Amen to that. I
self, the
agree.
self-doubt, self-hate, self-loathing. I mean, it was crippling at times. I mean, so I opened a
Crippling.
business. I mean, I went years with
How did
panic
you overcome
attacks,
that? How did you overcome that? Ooh, panic attacks, all the things. How did you overcome that?
anxiety, I mean, paralyzed in bed. I'd be sweating, laying in bed. I just decided I need to do work on myself. And listen, not that money cures anything, but when you start to now
Yeah,
succeed, when you start to see, I
yeah.
can hire now 18 months goes by, I hired an employee.
How did that feel?
The
Did you feel ready?
victory,
Did
yeah,
did you
the
feel
victory.
ready?
No, you're never ready, but
I
it
always tell
felt
people you're
like
never ready. Yeah.
I can't believe I can afford me and somebody else. And then time went on, and I hired a second employee, a third employee. The feeling you get knowing this thing I started from my kitchen on my computer, from just this idea, a bunch of families now get to eat because of this idea I had. I have a team here, the most incredible team of people, and they support their families because of some crazy cake thing that happened to me, and I decided I'm going all in.
Because you said one thing.
Yeah, I'm going all
Yes.
in on this. I'm
You
going
just
all
said
in on
yes.
it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll do that.
And
Yeah.
little by
I'll do that.
little, little by little, little by little, one customer to the next customer to the next customer. And I treated everybody with the gratitude I had for every customer is what kept bringing them back. They got a treatment at my shop. They could feel how grateful I was. And I'm not doing it. Like there's bakeries and cake people on Long Island and in New York. They've been doing this stuff 50 years, 40 years.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, there's a
I
lot of longevity there.
I found
A lot of, yeah,
yeah, there's
history.
generations that have been
Yeah,
in
I
this
was gonna say
business.
generations there. Yeah.
I had to find my way in. What set me apart was my cakes were a work of art. They weren't just I was not a baker. I was not and you'd never see me standing like with a rolling pin, like with an apron on. I was an artist who just used this vehicle now.
Do they taste? So I'm just gonna. Do they taste good?
They taste really good. That's really how people keep coming back because a lot of these cakes taste good, look good, but they don't taste good. Um,
Yeah,
but
because some are
I've
beautiful,
developed,
and you're like, ah, that's
yeah,
horrible.
it
But
tastes terrible. Like, I'm
yeah,
never buying a cake from that person again.
yeah.
But I found a way to build this following, and little by little, um, I would get the universe would send me a sign. I would be ready to break, and whatever you want, God, the universe, the planet, whoever you believe in,
Divine
whatever you
connection. Yeah.
believe in, God would send me a sign and say, "Don't quit. Like, don't do it." I delivered a cake one day, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it. I've struggled with really dark periods of my life during this cake journey. I delivered a cake. I came out from the delivery. I was behind a building, and the Long Island Railroad runs behind it. And the subway, the trains for me are very significant. I would paint on the trains and whatever. I sat that day, I'm overdrawn, I'm missing a mortgage payment, I don't have payroll. I watched the train for 2 hours,
Mm.
thinking to myself, I'm just going to walk in front of this train. Like, I'm just going to get out and walk in front of the train. Everybody in my life would be better off if I was probably not here. I'm putting my whole family in financial ruin for this selfish dream I have. And I sat and watched the train. And the only reason I didn't do it is because my confidence was so low. I thought I wouldn't succeed at being able to do it properly and I would live. And I said, "You're gonna live and
Okay.
your
You got me
family's
on that
gonna,
one. I mean,
yeah,
I'm just like, yeah,
yeah, your family's gonna walk in a hospital room and see you laying there and say, you couldn't even do that right now. Like what are you doing?" Um, but every time I had something like that, I would get another something would happen. Like very early on,
you get a
I
sign. Do you
yeah,
get a sign?
I get a phone call, right? Very early on, can you do a cake for Shaquille O'Neal?
I mean, Don, how does that happen?
Yes, just
TLC, how does that happen? And I'm,
from treating people properly when you meet them and respecting them and looking them in the eye, shaking their hand, being honest about your journey, being curious about their journey. Most people don't give a shit. Most people ask you a question, how are you? They don't really give a fuck how you are, Dana. They're
yeah,
waiting for you to finish talking so they could tell you how about their shit.
yeah,
When I would ask people, I was curious because I was looking for tools to put in my toolbox because I was in survival mode. I would
yeah,
talk to people and be like, "How you getting through today, man? How like what?"
yeah,
And I was curious, and people it resonated with people, and people would remember me. And this guy had a restaurant, and Shaquille O'Neal was coming in for dinner, and he called me and said, "We want to get a cake for Shaq. Can you do a cake for Shaq?" That was the first real high profile cake, and I we did a cake for Shaquille O'Neal and I posted it, and people couldn't believe it. People were like, "You did a cake for Shaq?" Like,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
I would just keep stepping from one lily pad to the next lily pad, and like I'm so unsure. Like,
I
am I
love
gonna
that you say
sink?
lily pads because they're
Yeah,
so wobbly. They're
yeah.
like,
You don't know. Am I gonna sink? And then I would
yeah.
find my balance again, and then some bullshit would happen, and I would be ready to quit again. Like it just was this. But what you realize is that never ends. The
Mhm.
bull the bullshit never goes away. The
Yeah,
bullshit never goes away.
I was looking at your quotes that you have said. And I don't even know if you remember this, but I love the fact that you said the bullshit doesn't go away.
Hmm.
So we're dealing with the drudgery of our own psyche of challenges. And then you also say this, Your purpose doesn't have an expiration date. You're never too late to discover what you were made to create. Every masterpiece begins with the courage to start. I mean, it sounds like a Hallmark card, but it's true. Creativity isn't about perfection, it's about expression. The best chapter often begins when you least expect them. I went on and on looking for what you had to say, but also knowing your story and where it derived from, and the creativity and the art, and then I'm
Yeah.
looking at the art behind you and I'm like, I'd buy the art. And
And
so
listen, now I sell art. All this art that I
yeah, I
did
was
my
just gonna
whole
say,
life,
do you sell art now? Because you said I sold no art. Do you sell
I
art
sell
now?
art out of my shop every day. I hang my art and people buy. So it's become like a gallery and I sell my art. But the amount of people that told me you can't open a cake shop, you're going to open a cake shop? You don't even know. How are you going to open a cake shop? And I
What do
don't,
you know? What do you know about baking anything? Yeah,
I didn't know anything, but
yeah. But
right. I had a vision that I wasn't following some playbook. I knew for me, this is what I have to do just to make myself feel something. I
yeah.
knew when I got the lines to like for me, this is like my day. Like I'm trying every day to get this. Right? I'm trying to
That
get the
that's
no
so for
yeah,
those of you that can't see and aren't
yes.
watching on YouTube, which I suggest you go over and you do that. But
Yeah,
if you're
so
listening on,
I'm holding
he's
my two
aligning.
hands. Yeah.
He's got a gap. He's closing the gap with one thing, his center, his alignment, his intuition
Yeah.
on what is true for him. That's exactly what you were just showing me. What's true
Because
for
for
you?
me, that's the only time the noise goes away. The
Oh,
noise, it gets quiet in my head when I can lock in and I can get that lined up and I allow the bad and the good to coexist in the middle with each other is the
mm,
only time
oh,
because listen, when there's too much good, you get a false sense of security and you're
yeah.
not properly grounded. When
I
you
always tell
start
people
to
you're attached to the external, but you got to hold space.
you're believing
You got to
all the
hold space for
bullshit.
both.
You're believing all this bullshit. Everybody's telling you how great you are, how this, how that.
Oh
You
yeah,
start to believe it for a minute.
that
Yeah,
rug can be pulled out very
yeah, it's
quickly.
coming. It's coming. Get ready for the right hook because it's about to.
So for the
Do
people
you
that
know?
right now are attached to that, what do you have to say to those people right now? And there people are struggling to build a dream, to build a business, to build anything.
Yeah. So this is my thing. So I started a podcast. The same thing I went through when I started a cake business. It's the same thing that happened when I wanted to start my podcast. So I have a journal and there's 2 pages in the journal and it's from 2012 and I was quitting doing cakes. I was writing to the
Mm,
I wrote I I was hearing what the universe was telling me, sending me signs every day that this is not the thing. You should not be doing this and I said, please send me something to let me know I'm on the right path or I'm quitting. I'm
yeah.
done. I can't do it anymore. And it was the day I always call those 2 pages the day I almost quit. The day I almost quit. And I would go back and revisit it all the time. I would read it. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna do and then I said, I'm gonna do a podcast. From doing cakes, I've become friendly with so many cool people, successful people in all industries. I said, the one common thing with all these people, they were at a point crawling on the floor, ready to quit, giving up, and they came out the other side. I said, I'm gonna start a podcast. The same people that told you you can't have a cake shop, they told me you can't have a pod. You're gonna start a podcast. There's a million podcasts. I said, so what?
Yeah.
So who cares? I don't really care. I'm gonna start a podcast the day I almost quit. And at the end of every episode, this is the thing I tell everybody you listen to these business podcasts and these self-help and we're going to give you an 18-month plan, a 5-year plan. At the end of my podcast, I ask every guest for the people that are listening to my podcast are people who are going through something, just trying to get out the other side. I need a 1-day plan.
Yeah.
I need a 1-day plan. I just need to know, please tell me how to
Yeah.
get to tomorrow. I can't even
What
get through today.
I love that you say that, and I'm pitching myself for your podcast because my biggest premise, and I'm getting ready to teach in my community, is the 1 degree. If I'm off by 1 degree and I can make 1 degree decision, just one today, just one, and I'm flying a plane,
Hmm.
if I'm off by 1 degree, that's 360 miles. I'm ending in the middle of the ocean. All I have
Yes.
to do is 1 degree. That is it. One shift of my thinking.
Yeah.
And people
The
think,
answers, the
yeah,
answers that I've gotten to that question from
yeah.
some people have been so helpful. But for me, I tell people, if you're going through it, if you're in the middle of it, foreclosure, divorce, estranged from your family, an illness, your kids aren't taught, whatever it is,
I've had all of those, and I remember,
whatever it is.
what you just said. I mean, I remember this chair in particular, teaching and then climbing on the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm big on people are like, "Why do you listen to such sad music?" I'm like, because it heals me
Yeah, it's
somehow.
a blanket. That's
It
sad
yeah,
music. Yeah.
yeah. It was just, and I just remember laying there and just saying, I made it. I made that one. I made it. And every day I slow it down, and I'm like, I can do this
Yeah.
today. I can do this today.
Everybody comes up with some fancy business plan. This is my plan. It doesn't,
Yeah.
you don't need to figure out 18 months from now if you don't have your mortgage for tomorrow.
Well, you see all that collapsing. You see all that smoke and mirrors not working anymore. And
Yeah.
I mean, me being in, a life mentor and coaching people over the world, I see these flash in the pan is what I call it. They're making tons of money and they're doing these big business plans. And what drives me crazy, make 7 figures, 8 figures, and people are like, I want that, and it's not doable.
Yeah.
It's not doable because they're putting this blueprint that has nothing to do with the healing, the trauma. You got to go back and you got to figure out what got you here, and take that 1 degree each day, slow it way down. And people,
Yeah.
they want to go so fast.
Do you know who David Meltzer is? Do you know David Meltzer?
He's been on my show. Yeah, he's been on my show. He does 20 minutes. He stayed on for an hour and a half because he wanted to see how many times I'd say Metzler instead of Melsner. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so David Meltzer, I had the pleasure of meeting him and going to
yeah. He's
one of
lovely.
his
He's lovely.
talks, and he said something towards the end of the talk, and it has stuck with me. And
Yeah.
he
We're very
said
connected, so I can't believe you brought that up. Another
he
sign. I look,
he
your
said
signs are incredible.
you can only be one of two things. You're either humble or you're about to be fucking humble. The universe, you're only gonna be, you're either gonna be humble or you're about to be humble. I try to conduct myself every day as humble as possible, as grateful to the planet, to the gifts. For me, I struggled my entire life with bravado, ego, me, but buy a big house, get this.
Mm.
I've come to a point now, I realize I am blessed with a life, not because of any financial anything. The two kids I've been given, the
Yeah,
wife I've been given,
yeah.
the friends I've been given that have supported me. My mom is 83, still in my life every day, sharp as a tack. I get to sit with my family every night at a dinner table. I mean, I
I always
say
say
this,
your kitchen table. Who's it? I always
yeah,
say who
my both daughters
are
live
at
in
your
my
kitchen
house.
table.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
eat family dinner every 6 out of 7 nights. The value of that to me, I don't want to go to some meet and greet. I don't want to go to your networking. Network with who? Who do you have at your networking event that's more impressive than my two kids?
Yeah.
Nobody. You don't have
What are the
anybody.
5 people at my kitchen table that it's you
This
have
is a
just
networking
yeah.
event you should want to be at.
That,
My
that,
my
yeah.
kitchen table
Well,
you should want to be at.
I'm like I'm inviting myself to New York to have pastries or cake and
You'll
coffee.
anytime you're here, you will be invited for
But
dinner at my house. But
well, you
I
and I
tell
just
people,
yeah,
but it comes with age, Dana. It comes with this
yeah.
age. You become, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be 58 in a couple of weeks. You go,
Happy pre-birthday.
thank you. You go, they've, how many guys have said this on all these podcasts? How many good summers do I have left? How many summers do I have when I could run down in the ocean, dive in, come out when my health is good? How many summers do I have
Yeah.
left? Who knows? We might have, with the way medicine's going now, we might have 30 good summers left, or we might have two left.
Yeah.
You never know with the way. So I
Yeah.
live every day
We never
humble,
know.
grateful. I ended up becoming this thing. I'm a New York kid. It is who I am. It's in my DNA, New York.
Yeah,
I just got to do the
it
cake
is.
for the New
It
York
is.
Knicks. The Knicks won a championship, and I got to do the cake for the New York Knicks for their pre-parade for Leon
Just say that
Rose.
again. Just say
Yeah,
what you just did. Yeah, I mean I mean you didn't even name drop as many as I know that you've done, but you just did. Say it
the
again.
cake for the New York Knicks pre-parade party in
Yeah.
Manhattan for
Yeah.
Leon Rose, the president. I got to do the cake for me. Whatever was going on that I was struggling with, that was just another sign along my
Yeah.
journey that the
And see, I
planet,
don't,
the
I didn't even know all this. I just knew I loved your energy. That's all I knew. Love is energy. Love, love,
yeah,
love, 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 love. Didn't know any of the accolades and I just knew that your soul just spoke to me. And I'm
yeah,
like, and
I
that's where yeah.
appreciate you.
Well,
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. And I know we're gonna have to do a two-part series because we've been on, whether you believe it or not, an hour and a half.
Yeah,
We're gonna do two parts so people really get to drop in and hear this. And I don't want anything edited out because every word you said, people need to hear, especially right now, especially right
yeah.
now.
I just want to say one thing at the end of this.
Oh, we have lots more to talk about because I need to know where they can find you. Where do you hang your hat?
Yes,
How
but
do you ship cakes? I want to know.
I'll
Are you
give you all that. But for me, the most important thing for me, if you're out there and you're sitting in a room and you're feeling a certain way, because I've been there, the only thing that saved me was I had the right people to call and lean on and tell them that I was struggling. There are too many people out there in a room alone and they don't have a person to call. There are people that they've surrounded themselves with are not giving them the support they need. You need to get in different rooms. You need to find people that can help you through it. You can nobody's doing it alone. Nobody's figuring it out by themselves. You got to get
We're
in a
all
room with
connected.
people. Yeah, so
But
for
people don't
me,
believe me when I put my number out there and I say, listen, if you are struggling, call me. They're like, oh, you're not going to answer the phone.
yeah,
You're not going to answer my message. And I said, I'm going to answer no, it is me. It's not my team. Yes, I have a big team. It's me because
yeah.
I believe that human connection is why we're here to love and be loved. And our ego is there to protect us. But when that quiets down when we get older and we realize that it's just heart connections, this is why we're here to love and be
Hmm.
loved and to support. I mean, if I could spend every moment, like when you said every night I have dinner with my daughters, I'm like, and I'm like, could I do that?
Yeah,
Could I make that happen? What stops me from doing that? As you're talking, I'm challenging my own story. And I love the fact that you challenged every day your own story. And I thought all we got to do is challenge that by 1 degree.
yeah.
We don't have to make quantum leaps here, you know.
No.
Or like you
And
said, 18-page business plans. No quantum leaps. Those things are possible if we make the right decisions each day.
if you make that 1 degree shift, don't prolong the pain though. As soon as you realize it's the wrong shift, you got to shift it back. Too many people make that little shift and then they just go, "Well, I'm here now. I'm in this bad relationship. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm in this marriage, I'm in this job, I'm in this apartment, I'm in this and then they stay.
What's fear?
They say.
I identify and I do the work in the world with why do people stay where they're at? The number one reason is fear. It's fear
Yeah.
based. And it goes back to the core wound, the core story of where along the way did you not feel safe? And because they would make the decision now if they felt safe, but
We
they're
would
like,
we could all trace it back to
yeah,
some point
yeah, we're
when we
gonna
were a
trace it
kid.
back somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could trace it all back to something that put
yeah.
that inside you. But this movie that we're all living, the credits gonna roll at some point. At the end of this movie, the credits are gonna roll, and you could
Don, do
decide.
you think is a movie next? Is a Netflix movie next? I mean, I don't
Oh,
know.
from
I see a documentary. I do, and
I have so many. I have so much rattling around in my brain, and I've given up on um trying to decide which. I've learned the song, everything around me lets me know what I should do
well, let's
next.
just call it in. Let's just call it in because as you've talked, I'm breaking it up. Even when I said I've got to do two parts, and then the way my brain works is, oh, it's a Netflix series. It's going to be broken up in 45-minute segments,
Hmm.
and I mean, And I'm usually not wrong about these things as what I do in the world. It's just what comes in comes to fruition because I see it and I see it for you. And I'm so excited. Wow, what an incredible honor to spend time with you today.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you asking me to come on.
Yeah, I mean it's your story. You're such an inspiration. I'm probably going to listen to this again because I think we all need to hear what it takes and how simple. I always say simple things are simple. Don't complicate. You keep it
Mhm.
simple and you stay connected. And I love that. How can people find you? Can they order a cake? Can it?
Just
Yep.
type, yeah. So the problem with the cakes are they can only go as far as we could deliver them in a vehicle. So I can't ship them nationwide, which would be a great thing if we could. They're so delicate and they're so
Beautiful.
detailed, and
So
you
we need to
can't
go to New York to have a
can't
cake.
ship. You could come to, so we, if you know the Northeast, we go as far as Connecticut, Jersey, New York City, Long Island.
No, at all.
From the tip of Montauk to Jersey to Greenwich, Connecticut, wherever I can drive to, I have a really good. My footprint is large. I have a great customer base. Wherever you can drive to, but if you just want to find me, type the Cake Don anywhere on any platform. You could find me, Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah, where do you hang out
YouTube.
the most? Instagram, LinkedIn.
Instagram for me tends to
It,
be where my customer acquisition comes from. It really resonates. You can go to my new YouTube page. I am 1 dozen episodes in on my podcast. The day I almost quit. So far, I've had DMC from Run DMC. I've had Doc Gooden from the New York Mets. I've had real, and mine is I will only do episodes face to face sitting in my studio. For me, the topics we cover, I feel I need to be sitting in the room with you.
well, I
Yeah,
have my book on the NASDAQ, August 21st. I'm going to be in New York.
let's get a day picked, and I would love for you to sit down in the
Let's do it
studio.
because I cannot wait to meet you in person. What an honor. I mean, look at me. Just I always say you've got to put a demand on the universe and ask for what you want. I'm not usually very pushy, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm
we
I'm
will
push,
we will
I'm
tell
getting I'd be
this
pushy.
we'll tell this story how we did this podcast
Yeah.
one day when we're doing something together
Yeah.
that we don't even know what that
Oh,
is yet.
well, I
We'll
think we
be
do. I think I just actually do. And I see the net. I mean, yeah,
Yeah. If
what
listen,
what a privilege. Yeah.
if you're involved with any talks, any conventions, anything, and you're looking for a speaker, something that aligns with what I am based in, let me know. I'll fly out to anywhere. I'll speak to any group. Whatever you have
Well,
going on, you let me know.
I'm going to invite you to, and we've got to wrap it up because I teach in my community. I'm going to invite you to come in and talk to my community in the next month on what it is, who you are, what you've done. We'll refer to the podcast, but I just feel I think people need to hear this in
Yeah.
repetition. Not just a one time deal like, oh, I heard that, and then people forget. And then they go on to something else. They just constantly looking for that quick fix. This
Hmm.
wasn't a quick fix. This is just, and you didn't get lucky. You just stayed the course. You
Hmm.
just stayed the course and you listened and you honored who you are, which is a creative, an artist, and you didn't abandon ship. And and you surrounded yourself with the people
Yeah.
that support you.
That's the most important. That's the whole game. Yeah, because
Yeah.
by yourself you won't be able to withstand it.
No, no, you're right about that. I'm completely in alignment with that. Dawn, you are, I'm going to say we all have a genius. The Greeks say we all have a genius. Your genius is not only in your cakes and what I've heard about, but it's about your wisdom and the willingness to just share it. Thank you. Thank you from the
Thank
bottom
you.
of my heart.
I really appreciate it, Dana. I'm looking forward to hearing this episode myself. Listen back to it.
Yeah, well, we might have to break. They may say we're gonna break it up in two, and I think that would be great, just so people can like be on the edge of their seat on what's coming
Mhm.
next. Because, and I actually, we should probably do like a six series here because I think we just touched the surface on what it is
Oh,
you're going to
we
do.
we certainly just touched the surface for sure.
Dawn, thank you again. Thank everyone for joining us today at the Data Grant Show. Until next time, stay safe, stay heart centered, stay connected, be kind as always, and follow Dawn. We're going to leave all the links below. If you're in the vicinity of the East Coast order a cake and let me know how it is. I'm going to order it when I'm there in August. I can't wait to celebrate. In front of the NASDAQ, I'm going to have one of your cakes and I'm going to be eating it right there. And I can't wait.
That's a deal.
All right. Bye for now, everyone.